Welcome back to IGN Live at Gamescom. I'm here to talk about Biomutant with Stefan. Hey, man, what's up?
Hey.
Thanks for coming through. So Biomutant just revealed, like, what, 2 days ago, a day ago, already blowing up on the internet. I love everything about this game already because I love Just Cause, and I love animals. So it's two of my favorite things in the world, together at last. Thank you for making a game, and thanks for joining us. No, so let's take a look at this game.
Yeah.
So what are we looking at here?
Yeah, this is the main protagonist before you actually do your own version of him. So this is my version of the main protagonist, the first character that actually started this whole concept. So if somebody already heard about this game, we use the description post-apocalyptic kung fu fable.
Post-apocalyptic kung fu fable.
Yeah, and
okay.
it's a kind of a mouthful, someone told me. So I better explain then. So the fable is quite easy because you play as an animal. And you know, in old times, fable means that we use talking animals to convey some sort of sense morale to human beings. Kung Fu, we wanted to create a unique combat system where you're free-flowing between melee or martial arts and shooting in a much more Hong Kong John Woo style. So you're in the air shooting. And the difference is, like in a traditional third-person shooter, you're using the trigger and you're aiming. For us, you're shooting with the face buttons. So it's actually super easy to integrate that into the general flow of the gameplay.
So you're sort of like calling back from like Aesop fables? Specifically?
You have to try the game.
I have to try the game. You don't want to give away the secrets. So that mixed with some John Woo, which is like a really awesome combination. The world here is gorgeous too. Obviously not the world we live in, but we saw the character at the very beginning dip his hands into this sort of weird goop. Is that a sort of leftover from a technological era, bygone? Like,
I mean, leading back to post-apocalyptic world, our world is dying as we speak. We saw here just the Tree of Life, which is the centerpiece of our world, with 5 huge roots leading out and into the world. And there's our version of post-apocalyptic is not, we don't have a nuclear bomb disaster. It's more like dead oil seeping up through the crust of the earth, contaminating the world.
Interesting. Okay, so we're getting a look at the character creation tool right here, which I immediately didn't know was a thing. Okay, wow, we can make this guy very big.
Yeah, so it's an RPG. So you see on the right-hand side that you have statistics.
Yeah.
So when you mutate him, you can make him big. Obviously, you get more health. You know, he gets a little bit slower. If you make him small, he's faster, nimble. Here you also see the...
Can we fix his eye?
The eye actually has a part of the narrative.
Of course it does.
Yes.
But his stripes don't. You can just do whatever you want with that. So we just made him, I don't know, he kind of looks like a messed up apocalyptic version of Grimace from McDonald's. I'm cool with that.
This is Oliver. He's one of the programmers, a really good guy on the team. He always chooses purple.
Okay.
So when we designed this character creator, you know, programmers, they want to make the most ugly characters they can.
And now we're sort of determining if he's going to be good or evil, right?
Yeah, this is a thing with Yin and Yang in the game. It's a karma system. So this is very important in the game because it has a meaning towards the end game and all of the characters that you're going to meet. So we're checking the key character's karma value, comparing it to your actual karma value, and that might affect the current dialogue choices, the quest lines that are opening up, and if you are choosing things in the quest lines, that might also change during the dialogue.
So why does this man hate you immediately?
He's the only meat eater left in the world.
The only one?
Yeah. So everyone else is, you know, they're mammals, so they eat fruit. And, yeah, like mammals do.
Like mammals do.
So he also has a big impact in the rest of the game. It's a recurring character. You will meet him several times. And he holds, like, part of the key to the background of who you are.
Wow. So we're getting a look at some of the sort of the range of combat here. And so will you see a lot more sort of scripted elements fold into the combat flow like that?
Well, everything is like we're trying to focus not to get too much scripted things in because we want to get back the fun in the gameplay. So not, you know, making it slower because we want the player to engage the enemies. So it's not like backing away. It's not cover based.
Right.
We want you to get near the enemies, but mix up shooting and melee. So. But we will have some slow-mo moments. Yeah, I talked about John Woo, so you will see probably some of these here.
So where does the inspiration come from these like bizarre and beautiful animal designs? Because we're seeing, I mean, like, what is this here?
Yeah, this is a bio-creep. So these are actually the creatures that spawn from this dead oil in the open world. So when you find them and you defeat one of these, you get a bio point. And if you remember, at the beginning of the trailer, he's actually kneeling by a bio pool. You were talking about that, so an oil sludge goo pool. You use the bio point that you get from killing one of these creatures to unlock or upgrade a biomutation. So those mutations are the ones that actually change you physically and provide you with abilities.
And do those sort of range depending on the character traits you chose at the beginning, if you want to be more good, more evil?
No, we will allow you to make your pick, because those abilities are tying also into the free flow of the combat.
Good, so you can be kind of gray then, right? Like a little good, a little evil?
Yeah.
I think that's how I'm going to play, because I'm prone to making
It's
mistakes.
balance in Jin Yang.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's very Zen-like.
Yeah.
So traversal, obviously, there's some verticality here. With this open world, is that correct?
Yeah, it's correct. So this is the beginning of the game, the Gamescom demo that is live here to play. So we're looking at about half of that, so there's some cuts here.
Stefan, that's great. What the hell is that?
The big guy?
Yes.
Yeah, he's trying to grab you and to drown you in that oil sludge.
Why?
This is the first tribe you're meeting. There's 6 tribes in this open world, and they're actually invading this complex to try to get their hands on this some of this oil.
So I thought a lot of the creatures in this game were sort of based on other animals. I don't know what this guy is. He's like a gimp duck?
Yeah. He's also actually a mutated character then. Some
Okay.
people ask me about like the main character. Is he a cat? Is he a fox? Is he a rocket raccoon? Yesterday I got the question, is he a koala?
Yeah.
Like,
did you just invent a new animal species, basically?
yeah.
That's
Looks
good.
like it.
Yeah.
But you can also mutate him a little bit, so you can make him kind of your version of my original
So
thing.
you can make him more koala-esque.
Yes.
Which
Obviously, people think that, so that's cool.
Yeah, that's fine. So you see a lot of the beauty of the world, but you also see a lot of the sort of corruption that's happened through the oil here. Does that sort of signify that certain environments will be more dangerous, more horrifying?
Yeah, so in the open world, it starts with that you are free to go anywhere with 4x4 kilometers, but we are giving you a challenge in terms of different biomes. So for example, we have a cold zone. You need to get warmer clothes to be able to go deeper into the cold zone. We have a dead zone with low oxygen, so maybe you need some kind of vehicle to go in there, or you equip a gas mask and an oxygen tank to be able to go deeper into those zones.
Okay, so that guy just used the car door as a shield.
Yeah.
So that means there's cars in this world.
Yes.
So you're talking a little about vehicles. I hope we get to see some of those in a bit. But I want to sort of ask you more about the world itself. Are there like secrets? Are there areas like dungeons, temples type? If you're looking at sort of like, you know, something along the lines of Zelda or something, are there kind of larger areas that are underground, or, you know, how does all that come together?
Yes, correct. So it's a 4x4 kilometer main world with different biomes, and there's a matching underworld. And it's very interesting that you gave the Zelda as a as an example. So I say it's more Zelda than Horizon Dawn, but people said, oh, it's like Horizon Dawn, but it's not so linear in terms of the narrative. So we're trying to give you a more open world to explore, and I call it secret discoveries. But they're not secret if you find them, right? So they're more like personal discoveries. So we want to enable, like, it's character-centric. So you find these quirky characters, and they will give you, if you start to help them out, they will always give you some kind of reward that is meaningful in terms of either exploration or gameplay. So
now, how long has this game been in development?
The studio was founded in 2015, so that's when we started with the game.
Oh, awesome! Because I think a lot of the sort of excitement around this game, besides the fact that it looks really cool, is that it was like kind of totally a secret. You just sort of sprung it on people, and usually in this day and age, when we hear about a game for the first time, it's a teaser logo, or it's like a splash screen or something like that, or we see some character footage. But you guys have, this is a real video game.
Yeah.
This is like, this is ready to go. So, you know, how has it been keeping that a secret? How much more time is left in development? Like, talk about the development process a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, it's been quite different from what I did previously, working on this big AAA budget titles. So we wanted to go back. The studio's named Experiment 101 for a reason. 101 is the basics. I've done games for about 25 years. An experiment is that we are trying to get the developers really active in making the game, putting as much gameplay as possible into the game. So no meetings, no leads, no directors. And a lot of us are multidiscipline developers. So when we make decisions, people have a deeper understanding of what impact it has actually on the actual game.
So removed from the sort of like AAA label, or, you know, the big budget label, did you find more creative freedom in sort of coming in and saying, like, this is what we want to do today, and there's less people above you being like, no, you can't?
Yeah, I mean, I loved being there. I loved working with those games. But it's a little bit more complex because you have to get everybody on board. And that takes a little bit more time. Here, we had the opportunity and the backing to actually make those decisions ourselves. So, correct. 100% correct.
Now, we talked a bit about traversal. We just saw something there where the main character can spawn sort of spores on the ground and use them to jump into the air.
Yeah, that's an example of weird in a good way.
Yeah.
So I always talk about weird in a good way about this game. So
I mean, I play video games for escapism, so I want weird stuff. I want, you know, a mole in a wheelchair or whatever that is right there. So now, the way you just unlock that sort of traversal spore thing, we'll be able to see a lot more stuff like that in the game. Is that unlocked through sort of boss fights? Like, how do you gain those abilities?
That spore or fungi infestation is actually a biomutation.
Okay.
So usually we take the mutation system and bring that into core gameplay. So the fungi is obviously a good thing in an open world exploration game, but also it has an effect in combat because enemies will bounce off that. And you can also use that to bounce off that to get up into aerial combat, for example.
Now we see these sort of grunt-like enemies here. They're all wearing these kind of giant Hotline Miami nightmare masks. What's the story behind this?
Yeah, so like I said, there's 6 different tribes in the game, and they all have a little bit of different, you know, flavor to their look, but also to the behavior. And they also go into this karma system of good and evil. So the leader can either be good or evil. And they also have a kung fu master aspect, so they can teach you certain new moves if you start to work with them.
What were some of these sort of like art and films or, you know, along those lines that influenced this? Because I'm picking up like some vintage Tim Burton and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love Tim Burton, so I'm happy that you say that. I got the question, how did you come up with this? And my answer is, I don't know. I mean, I dream a lot, so maybe some shit comes from that. But it all started with this main character and the idea that you could play as an animal. And I wanted to make something really bright and colorful, and I think we did that.
So you just wake up in the middle of the night and like cold sweat, you grab a pen and a pad, you start drawing these nightmare cats.
It's my phone, and my wife just wakes up at the same time and asks me, but she gets used to that now.
She's like, you drawing koala animals again?
Yeah.
So this is, it seems to be like a massive world. How will that unfold sort of for players to explore? Will they be able to go in different directions from the start? Like, how does that work? Is there sort of a more defined path?
We try to keep it as open as possible. So think of the map as a diamond-shaped map. So you start in one corner, and like to the right-hand side, there's an archipelago. So you will need to work with the character to allow him to build you a Wotski. Then you can traverse the archipelago. You need a stronger. Yeah, Wotski. We will see this shortly.
Cool.
If you go on the left-hand side, it's more of a dead zone. And to venture deep into that, you will need a mech.
And we saw it now. Oh, God.
She actually bit the leg of the guy in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
So there's a narrative there as well.
All right.
And here we see a little bit of what the actual game would look more like.
Now, this grasshopper we see hopping around a lot, what's the story with him?
Yeah, he's your sidekick in the open world.
He's like your Geppetto?
Well, I don't want to reel too much about him, but he is contextually reacting to parts of the world that you're visiting and will give you background of that world and also open up new quests for you.
We saw, okay, so now there's a whole lot of stuff going on. I don't even know where to begin. So there's a hand you can ride. Yeah. There was a giant, like, sort of bugle horn that woke up the sea. The sundial.
Here's the crazy inventor. So if you start work with him, he will then give you cool things like the mechanical hand.
What is this?
It's a puff blimp. It's an air balloon.
I have a million questions for you right now. Okay, so you can fly in this game. That's awesome.
Yep.
So you're a cat koala based on old fables and John Woo movies. You have this Geppetto-like sidekick. You fight 3-headed nightmare dragons, and you can fly. And there's a mech suit.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't even know where to start.
And it can have a panda customization. You can customize the mech.
Of course.
Yeah.
That was my next question. Can you get a panda customization? Congrats on Biomutant. I don't even know where to begin. There's so much cool stuff in this game. Do you have anything along the lines of a release date, platforms, anything like that yet?
Next year.
Next year.
PS4, Xbox One, PC.
Okay, cool. Anything else you want to say about the game?
Like you said, there's quite a lot to say. So
I seriously have a million questions. Everything from weapons to the art direction to the customization seems really cool to me. Yeah. So let me ask you, why decide on having such a customizable main character? So many games sort of value you into a defined protagonist, especially for something that is so narrative driven. Yeah. Why give players that choice?
Yeah, I mean, I like video games because I can dictate what's going on in the game. So when I want to experience a narrative, I go watch movies.
Excellent.
So I'm trying to go back a little bit to the games that I loved when I was younger. And that's what we're trying to do. So we're going to try to give you as much as possible in terms of freedom and customization.
Well, Stefan, thank you for making a game and not a movie, because that way I can play it for a very long time. That's Biomutant. It's coming next year. We'll be covering games all week long right here for Gamescom with IGN, so stick around.